Good morning, everybody. This is Lorraine.
And Jennifer.
And this morning, we're going to follow up on a conversation that we kind of started last week. Last week, we were talking specifically about LinkedIn articles as a way of building visibility. And I want to extend that conversation today and talk about building your community on LinkedIn.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a great place for where business typically happens. Typically.
And I really have to give Microsoft a lot of credit. I think they've done some really good things with the platform. They've had some innovative things they've added, they've taken away, but they are continuing to modify the platform to make it interesting for business owners like us.
Yeah. And I've been on the platform since the very beginning. In fact, I remember getting a email from LinkedIn telling them they were going to kick me off because I was asking for too many connections way back in the day.
Absolutely, because they wanted people, and they still do. They want you to be connecting with people that you know. They really want to make it harder for spammers to just get in there and connect. And I really respect that.
Yeah. There was a recent update where if, you were using a certain software, it actually said in there or something. It didn't use the software name, but that you were going to be restricted, and it did restrict people. And I'm like, yay, good. Let's
Yeah.
stop that.
Not, and I let my organic reach on LinkedIn grow naturally. And I've started an experiment since the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Where I have begun really actively, and not just getting on and push, connect, because that's how you get those spam letters. But very strategically looking at, if I comment on somebody's content, who else is commenting? And deliberately going at those people and reaching out with, it's a very simple personal introduction, but hey, I noticed you commented. I'd love to connect. I noticed you're a fan of. And the one thing I've been putting in all of my LinkedIn connections, because requests, is, by the way, I'm not trying to sell anything. I legitimately just want to connect. And I've gotten a really high response rate, which is great. A few people laugh, and we have some fun little chit chat.
Yeah, same. I'm trying to take a real personal approach. I think the difference between yours and mine is I'm using LinkedIn Navigator. I am, trying to get in front of people that I just truly want to be connected with. And they're people that I have, similarities with. They either own a business or, they are in marketing. And, those are my two favorite topics. And it's what I talk about. And for the most part, that they're located in Indiana. That's another thing that's kind of dear to my heart. And I'm too, making sure that I approach this as the way that networking was intended. I'm not trying to sell you. I just want to connect. I think we have some synergies. I'd love to hear about what you have going on. And then I leave the inbox from there. I don't try to reach out to them. I don't try to anything. And I get some of those responses too. They're like, wow, that was refreshing.
Yes. And, it's interesting because I don't spend hours doing this.
No.
I hop in usually once a day. My status updates go automatically through a publishing tool.
Yeah.
So I go in once a day to engage with anybody who has engaged with me on my posts.
Yeah.
And then I spend the rest of the time looking at, who am I following? Who have I just started following? Have they put anything new up?
Yep.
And it works. It works. Since the beginning of the year, and I've actually picked up twice as many new connections as I did all of last month.
Yes.
You know, and it's not like it was all that much work.
No, no. I mean, I certainly have too. On some peak days, I'm adding, up to 180 people a day. And some of that though, that's not how many people I'm sending out and I'm requesting. I like to say that you kind of hit like a critical mass
Mhm.
where you have so many followers, then everybody else, wants to potentially follow you, or I'm going to say, and you're putting out good content. And so it's stuff that people want to see and they want to be a part of it and they want to have those discussions. So you're actually building a community because you're talking with your community.
Absolutely. And LinkedIn has done some interesting things with with their algorithm, which I think really plays to that. Unlike some of the other platforms, they actually will show you content. They will prioritize users who you engage with, who
Yeah.
post consistently. And then the other thing they do is they will prioritize content of users with strong engagement, even if you don't interact on their posts. So if you pay attention to what's in your feed, and that's where you're starting to show up in so many feeds, is because you're putting out posts that are getting great engagement.
Yeah, yeah, and it's very distinct there where it's people that you are engaging with. The other platforms are not doing that. They're more of what you are engaging with, and it's a little bit of a mix there with LinkedIn where they are paying attention to the actual people. And so, sometimes my feed starts to really get full of people that I've commented a lot on. And I'm like, okay, I got to go in there and talk with some other people because I want to make it I
Mhm.
wanna talk to everybody. I wanna hear what they have to say.
Absolutely. Now, some things that I did notice, I was reading an article on it, and they've been talking about it before, where they are punishing outbound links. They really are focusing on native content. And this is where, and you've said it, the short videos, when you turn this into a series of reels, gets way more engagement.
Yeah.
It
That
it will not help you necessarily get traffic to your website, but you have to shift that mindset. You have to recognize that some of your marketing is going to be just about the community you're building online. And that's where the incentive to continue to grow the LinkedIn community comes from.
if we have anything to learn over the last 6 months, it's going to be that your engagement and on social media is not going to get you back to your website. It's a whole separate channel, it's a whole separate metric, whole separate thing to look at. It's not going to maybe people will want to, but they wanna have stories and they're looking for true, like, relationships and true humans and having conversations.
Absolutely. And to that end, as a marketer, I think one of the things that you need to embrace is you need to be creating really quality content
Yeah,
on LinkedIn.
yeah,
Because if you accept the fact that you are not going to get people to click back through to your website, you absolutely, absolutely, absolutely underline three exclamation points. You absolutely need to be creating content that is on LinkedIn that people are interacting with.
and don't give up. You have to start somewhere, and you need to get started in order to learn what's working and what's not working. I think we can both attest to that. When we first started, like, what we did before and what we do now is completely different, and it just, like, compounds on top of itself. And so I think a lot of times people are like, "Oh, Well, I need this. I think I saw a post like somebody gave this like exact like formula, like what to do with like each different, and I'm like, people are looking at that thinking, well, if I just follow that, I'm going to be successful, and that's not true.
No, the biggest thing and is that you actually have to be creating real content and real engagement. So, for example, two-letter, great article, love this, great article. That doesn't get you squat.
No.
It doesn't get you squat, so stop doing it. I mean, if if you go through your feed and you like a bunch of people's content, that will help you see more of it. But then you need to take a minute, read the update, read one or two of the comments, and either reply to one of the comments in a meaningful way
Yeah.
or reply directly to the content. It takes more time to do that than it does to do the static, love this, love this, love this. But you know what? It
It's
drives more results.
Yeah, but I mean, people are going to take you more seriously and be like, "Oh, well, they actually do care." There's just too many automated AI things that can make, those type of things happen. And do I believe that in a numbers game that you might, eventually win in that other scenario? Sure, you might. But it's not going to get you to that ultra level that you're looking for.
Well, part of this is beyond just the numbers of fans and followers. You have to be creating this persona that makes someone actually want to reach out when they're ready for services like yours.
Yeah, and if you're authentic to who you actually are, then you are going to attract people that you want to work with, and you're not going to attract people that are going to, see you and be like, "Oh, well, that's not a match for me." And that's okay.
Absolutely, because you can't work with everybody. I could talk about this for way longer, but I think we should put a pin in it here.
Yeah.
I would encourage all of you, if you are on LinkedIn, connect with us, say hello, let's have a conversation.
Yeah, and I mean, if you wanna have, like, a individual session just to talk about, like, where you're at with your LinkedIn growth and what can help you particularly, certainly go to digitaltoolbox.club and book some time there.
Awesome. We'll see you guys next week.
Alright, take care.
Bye now.